I want to know how you came up with the name for your gym, The Church. Because that is badass.
All right, so the real story, yeah?
Yeah,
Okay,
the
all
real story.
right.
What's the fake story?
Like, oh, why do you go to church to better yourself? So, it's like
Oh,
it's
okay.
kind of one of those kind of things. But the real story is we were partying at my buddy's house, Nick Powers, and I was with like a couple different dudes who I'd helped kind of transform, like kind of change their life. They were in some dark places, and it was like five or six of them at the same party, and they just decided to like pick me up over their head, like crowd surfing style, and they were like they just started chanting the Church of Jamey, and it was like a complete joke, and then it started like kind of kicking off. I started getting more clients, and jokingly, like the same people were like, "Yeah, Church of Jamey, like that's what we're gonna call it," and then it just happened, So like it kind of was a joke at first, and then it just took off, and I was like, well. I don't really want to dive into renaming this, so we're just gonna keep it that,
No, it's good.
It's just very organic,
I always thought it was like great marketing, and I say the same thing to the fighters because like whenever fighters are picking up their own nicknames, I say to them like, if you pick your own nickname, it
Yeah.
never sounds good.
Never.
It has to be bestowed upon you.
100%,
So it makes
yeah.
sense that like a good gym name is also
Yeah.
bestowed upon you, like not
Yeah.
necessarily created by you.
Yeah.
You were talking about how you were like around 6 or 7 people that you quote unquote like help change their lives or like help change the path that they were
Yeah.
on. What do you mean by that? Because I know that your gym started from like very humble beginnings.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like I mean, a trunk full of equipment that was probably given to me, most of it, and we just meet at the park because I didn't have a facility to train people in, and yeah, we just make do. I remember, dude, there was one year like it was winter. Dude, people were showing up. It was like 35 degrees outside.
Let's get this work.
Yeah, dude, I remember thinking like going into. I remember thinking like, man, it's getting pretty cold. Like maybe we'll just pick this up like when it gets warmer out. And everybody was just like, no, like we got to keep doing this. So it's like, well, I don't have a spot, so we'll have to do it outside. And they're like, yeah, that's cool. And so like, dude, we were like literally 35 degrees. It'd be like close to freezing temperatures. We'd just be doing it, making it happen. It'd be like 10 minutes in, they're sweating, now they're warm. It's like,
But like, okay, so like, walk me back though, because like you used to be a fighter. I
Yeah.
guess do you still compete or are
no,
those
it's
days
been
behind
a
you?
while, man. The coaching really just took over, and I just went all in on the coaching, man. I always enjoyed it, even when I was fighting, like training at Arnold BJJ. I was like wanted to help people. I was always able to connect with people, and so like it was definitely one of those things that like I always loved to do. So the second it became, like my center focus, it just was, I was like, we're doing this, I'm running with it, I love helping people. And
So you were a fighter, and then people were starting to come up to you and say like, "Hey, I want to train with you."
Yeah.
Was it originally like, "I want to compete, I want to
No.
get in shape"? Like,
No, it was like the most like out of shape people, really, and it was people that were in very dark places. Some people that like got out of bad relationships, and some people that had like drug issues. Some people that were just super super obese. Like I trained this one dude who was almost 400 pounds.
Jesus.
He had like a heart attack before he was 30. And he ended up actually competing. He never started doing it to compete, but I was always training. And this is when I was fighting, so I was training for fights. So this would be like pretty much an open invitation to anybody because I just trained all day long, and I would be like, hey, like I'm gonna be here at this time. If you want to train, come out, and it was yeah. So like that's kind of how it took off. It was more or less just like an open invitation to train with me,
We're and forgive me if I ask this, but when you were originally starting and you were training these people, was there any part of you that felt like, because a lot of times professionalism can be attributed to like the facility or something like
Right,
that. Like you
yeah.
might be a shitty coach,
Yeah.
but if you're at a brand new building
Yeah,
with
yeah,
brand
yeah.
new mats
Yeah.
and all this stuff,
You're right.
meanwhile here you are, like you're out at a local park, like anybody can kind of walk in on you guys,
Yeah,
and
it
here you
was-
are working. Like, walk me through the mentality of that. Like, did you not care? You were like, "Fuck it, we're gonna get in this work.
Oh yeah.
Who cares who sees us?"
Yeah, it was literally there was nothing attached to it, as far as like expectation, It was just like if you're here, I'm gonna push you to your limits. There was no monetary thoughts. I never even thought I could make money doing it, And it was crazy because looking back on it, it happened very organically, but there was never a thought in my mind until people like forced money on me. They were like, look, man, like I've had a lot of trainers, you know, I've had personal trainers. You're the best personal trainer I've ever had. Like, I'm gonna pay you. And I was like, you don't have to pay me. And they're like, well, I'm gonna pay you, you know, like, here, you know, and then it's kind of like it turned into me being like, well, I really love this, you know, this is like what I'm doing every day. I'm putting all of my time, all of my focus into this. And I was like, if I could pay my bills doing this, I could really put my all into this, you know? And then that was kind of where the transition happened, you know, because I wasn't making really any money fighting. So it was like, you know, like the second that happened, I was like, dang, like I love doing this, you know? I love training. I love training people. I love pushing people. Like seeing how it affects people and how it makes them, you know, feel so alive. That was, to me, that was the addicting part of it, you know?
Do you think that there's a therapy to martial arts and training in general?
Oh, 100%.
And do you think that
Yeah.
these people, like, yeah, like they're getting more physically in shape, but did you see like a difference in them? Like, I can't really speak to the women too much because I myself am not a woman.
Yeah.
But I would assume that this is like cross genders. Like, it wouldn't matter
Yeah.
if you're a man or a girl.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
But like, you're teaching these guys A, how to like physically defend themselves,
Yeah.
and B, they're also like going through this like rigorous workout. So like they're enjoying the fruits of their labor in terms of like the physical change,
Totally.
right? It's like I'm losing fat, I'm building
Totally.
muscle, I can
Yeah.
run longer, I can go harder. Like,
Yeah.
so like when you're seeing this, like what was the reaction for you? Like when you're seeing, you know, Jack losing 100 pounds,
Yeah.
what's going through your mind?
Dude, it was honestly incredible, man, just because I knew how much he was suffering before that. And a lot of these people, they just write themselves off. They don't see themselves ever being able to be that fit person, or that person that could, you know, help somebody else in the same situation they were in, you know? So it's really cool to see them bloom into that, you know? And so many people I've seen just never, ever, ever, ever planned on doing anything more than being like, oh, I'm just gonna, like, you know, I'm here, I'm gonna work out, you know? And so it was really cool to see them, you know, not just like in the fitness aspect, but more in like the just mental, you know, like the confidence that they would build, you know? I mean, some of these people, they came from some really rough backgrounds, you know? And that's the one thing I noticed too, that everybody shares. It's like they're all going through something, you know? They're all going through something, you know? So it's like to see them be able to get through that with this, I never realized how much of an effect it had on people that have been through shit and have been going through shit, you know? And it's like to think that, because for me, it was just like, I love working out. I love pushing myself. I love training. But for a lot of other people, it was like, it's a release. It's an escape, you know? And to see them start with that and then eventually get to a point where they're able to do the same thing that I'm doing, you know? They're able to help people. They're able to give people advice, you know? So it was, yeah, man, it was really cool to see that. I think more than anything, more than even like the physical change, you know? Like the mental change to me was like really the groundbreaking thing for me, you know?
What do you like more? Did you like fighting more, competing, like that selfish aspect of like, this is me, I'm the
Yeah.
shit, I'm the
Yeah.
motherfucker, I'm winning? Or do you like the fact that like these guys that you're bringing up are also winning fights now, and it's kind of like, hey, like I'm parting to them wisdom that was parted to me,
Yeah.
and to see them flourish and to see
Totally.
them kind of succeed in this aspect? Like, what gave you more pride? There's no right or
Right.
wrong answer, but I'm
Right.
just curious.
So I always loved fighting. Like being the youngest of like my brothers and stuff, you know, it was always like I played sports my whole life, you know, like my dad's pretty old school, you know, so like just violence was always kind of a part of my childhood, you know. I was
That was
always
a great childhood.
yeah, dude. It was fun. I had a lot of fun with it, you know, but like I think but the biggest part of me, I think I got this more from my mom, was helping people, right? Like that's as long as I've been alive, that was like I've never wanted to do anything more than just help people with whatever what I was doing, you know. And I think that was the difference. Was like being a fighter is very selfish, right?
Yes.
It's very selfish, and being a coach is the complete opposite. It's selfless, you know. So like for me, I think it filled a bigger void, you know. I think it filled a bigger part of me, being able to help people and to know that, damn, like I have now a whole entire group of people that were all going through something. Before I met them, they were really struggling with a lot, and now it's like to these people, like I am, you know, very appreciated, you know, and like that feeling to me is, for me, was much bigger than any feeling I got from fighting, you know. Some of the fights I had, they were like the best nights of my life, you know. The feeling of accomplishment was huge, you know. Overcoming hurdles and stuff like that was huge, you know, but it was not even close to comparison to seeing me help other people, you know? So like, I think the biggest thing was just being able to help other people, you know?
I have to agree. I was a pretty selfish fighter, and I attached so much of who I was
Yeah.
to fighting.
Right.
I don't think people realize how much their like job
Yeah.
and their hobby plays into the narrative of their life.
Right.
Because like when you meet someone, be like, oh, this is Tom, he's a plumber. This is
Yeah,
John, he's an
yeah,
electrician.
yeah.
You don't say like, hi, I'm John, I'm 31 years old, my BMI is what, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, yeah.
So it's like, how do you kind of represent yourself? It's
Right.
usually your occupation.
Yeah,
So
totally.
for me, it was like, well, I worked in finance, and that's just a whole lot less sexy than I'm
Yeah,
a professional
yeah,
fighter.
yeah.
So like, hi, I'm Ariane, I'm a pro fighter. You know, that was
Yeah,
always like
yeah.
the way I introduced myself.
Right.
And I always thought in the back of my head that when the time came to hang up the gloves for competition, I don't think I'll
Yeah.
ever hang up the gloves like
Right.
ever,
Yeah.
right? But in terms of like competition,
Yeah.
I thought that transition would truly break me because like I put so much of who I was
Yeah.
as fighting.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised to realize that when that time finally did come, it
Right.
was actually a much easier pill to swallow.
It's like a release almost. you know?
Almost.
It's like the pressure's off, you know?
Do you
It's
feel like fighting is this like doldrums lull where it is simultaneously an aspect of so much power and so much ego
Yeah.
while also a crushing burden?
Oh, dude, absolutely. I mean, it's inevitable, you know? It's like one of those things, like, you carry that with you every day. You're this fighter, you know? You're this fighter, and, like, so many people look at you in that light, you know? And it's like you're always in a situation where you have to carry that, you know? It's hard to disconnect from that, you know, for a lot of fighters, you know? And that's why you see guys like Conor McGregor, you know? And it's
Oh my
like,
God.
and sometimes there's two sides to it, you know? I think it can make or break you, you know?
I would love to see what Connor was like when he was like plumbing and like
Oh,
before
yeah.
he trained.
Oh, dude, probably the nicest guy ever. probably like, yeah, dude. I mean, even like you see some of his like older interviews, you know, and it's like,
He was a humble kid with acne.
oh yeah, dude, yeah, shitty hair.
Oh,
No.
God bless. No, but it's funny that you say that because I would also make the comment that like some of I said this to Wayne and a lot of the guys that I train with, but like my best friends now are the ones that hit me in the face the most.
Oh, totally.
So
Yeah.
it's like it's this weird paradigm of like when I was being raised, I was always
Yeah.
told like don't hit your friends, like
Yeah.
treat
Yeah.
others how you would want to be treated.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to be punched in the face, but the guys that punch me in the face, I gravitate towards. This is weird.
Dude.
And martial arts makes just for great human beings.
Oh,
I find.
100%, yeah.
Like whenever
Yeah.
I go to parties, whenever I go to outings, you know what always feels like a high school reunion. Every fight,
Yeah.
whether you go to
Yeah.
Nemesis, whether you go to
Yeah,
Shamrock,
dude.
whatever,
It is, bro.
everyone's bro fisting. Everyone's like, "Hey,
100%.
how you doing?" Giving hugs and stuff like
Yeah,
that. And it's
yeah.
hilarious to me because it's like it is kind of like this band of brothers, like this, like we've been through the same shit,
Right.
So we have
Yeah.
like this like mutual respect
Similar
of like,
struggles, man,
I know what a
yeah.
weight cut is like. I
Yeah,
know what those
yeah,
pre-fight
dude.
jitters feels like.
Yeah, man.
I'm glad I fought. I'm only 31 years old, so like
Yeah.
I haven't lived my life long enough to have many regrets. But some of the times I think to myself, like, you know, could I have been more if I didn't do certain things? Like,
Yeah.
what if I didn't fight and I only focused on like school and
Right.
my professional life? Like, would I be the same guy I am? Would I be
Right.
as like mentally strong? Like,
Yeah.
So I think about these things, but I think whenever I do some soul searching, I say to myself like, I'm very happy that I went into martial arts. And
Totally.
I'm very happy that
Yeah.
I engrossed myself in violence because I'm just such a, if you would have met me before,
Yeah.
I was like a, 5'6",
Yeah.
$130 kid.
Yeah, dude.
I just didn't want to be messed with. So like I was like hyper
Right.
aggressive because like I wanted to show that like I wasn't no punk. If you're
Yeah,
gonna
exactly.
fuck with
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna fight.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to fight.
Like almost like insecurities, you know, and they
100%.
show in like different ways, you know, and like I feel like with a lot of people that don't fight, it's like those are usually the guys out here starting trouble, you know. It's
Or
like,
talking the biggest mess.
dude, yeah, yeah,
Like-
like I could fucking beat John Jones's ass.
I can't watch fights with guys that don't fight.
No, yeah, it's
It
terrible.
drives me crazy.
It's terrible.
It drives me
It's
crazy.
terrible.
Why doesn't he just get up? Oh, that's because he's got a 180-pound guy on him who's a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a D1 All-American wrestler.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me tell you what that's like.
Same dude in the crowd, like punch him in the face.
I do love those guys though, like the Just Bleed character.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
something to be said about ignorance, like ignorance, peaceful ignorance.
Yeah.
I'm here for.
Oh, 100%.
But it's the guys that like try to like put themselves on a pedestal at the
Yeah.
expense of the fighter. I'm like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
It's like, yeah,
You have
don't-
no clue.
You do not know. Yeah, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Yeah.
So now, I mean, your gym is legit, man. It's like one of the pedestals here in St. Louis. So like,
Definitely, yeah.
what does that feel like? I mean, from the humble beginnings to now being kind of like one of the guys to go
Dude,
to if you want to, especially your gym specifically,
yeah.
striking training.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's it's been, dude, the whole journey, man. It's been crazy. And like the whole time it was happening, it's so funny because it was all happening and I just kept myself so busy that I never really got to like take it in. And I remember the first time that like we got the new building, and I had guys winning titles and it was like it really kind of hit me, It was like, damn, like what you're really doing this, like this was never the intention. It wasn't like I didn't have a plan going into anything. This was just like I'm just going day to day, and I'm just giving my best to anybody who's around.
When did you start? Was it like during COVID, right?
Well, it
Or
was
was it briefly
it was
before?
before that. Yeah,
Okay.
it was before that. But COVID was like the first time I got like an actual like spot, which was just a garage, a one car garage, dude. We'd have like 12, 14 people in there training, dude, like smaller than this room, no joke. And it's funny because I think that's really what bred the style of the church was like, we're very much like a high pressure style, like we're in your face, and a lot of that really was just because we didn't have room to go. You could, yeah.
Can't work on my footwork if we can't
No,
move.
dude, no, dude. It was like two bodies, two bodies, two bodies. So it was like you're just forced. It's like fighting in a phone booth, And we just got real good at it because like we didn't have room to do anything else, So like, but yeah, man, I think yeah, dude, it's been like quite a humbling journey, but at the same time, it reminded me like I'm here for a reason, it's like it was dude, man, there's so many emotions that came with the whole journey, but like yeah, dude, it's even sitting here now, it's kind of wild, it's kind of like it's like a dream almost, just like everything that I could ever have wanted, is like I'm here, but it was like I wasn't doing it, for those reasons. This was just like a day-to-day thing that organically happened, and now I'm like, all right, we're in now, like we're in now.
We're
So
committed.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
Now you got a full blown facility. You moved from outside to a
Yeah.
garage to a
Two
facility.
garages.
Walk me through that. Like now that when you go to your gym, what are the emotions that you feel when you open the doors and you turn on the lights?
Dude, it's wild, bro. It's wild, man. Like every single day, it's just like being able to do what I love for a living. I think I think that's the biggest part of it. But also at the same time, knowing that I'm in a position where people really rely on me. Like I love that. I love that feeling of knowing like I have a whole room full of people that are looking to me for guidance. And just trying to build others to be in that same position, because we are a little bit more of a green gym, as far as a lot of my fighters have only been training for a year, 2 years, 3 years at the most, So trying to just build other guys in the gym that can help me run the gym,
I would also say though that's like a measure of the fact that you're like you say you're a green gym, but you're also a new gym, dude.
Yeah,
St.
yeah.
Charles and May's been around for what 25 years.
Exactly.
Finney's around for 20 years. So it's
Exactly.
like
Yeah, dude.
you got to cut yourself a little bit of slack. Here
No,
and
for
there,
sure.
too.
For
And you've
sure.
had some guys come out there and have some showings that
Oh, yeah.
I would be proud of if I was their coach.
Hell yeah,
so
man. Yeah.
kudos to you and your training.
I appreciate it, man.
How do you like one of the things when I had Mike Rogers on, I asked him what he did in order to keep this feeling fresh and new. Because like when you're doing something for 25 years, like you see guys kind of come and go.
Dude, yeah.
But you actually have like I don't want to say the same problem, but like sorry, I don't want to say the opposite problem, but you have like the problem of you don't have like a history to fall back on. Like
Yeah.
you're kind of building this culture and building
Literally.
this
Yeah.
as you're going.
Exactly,
So
yeah.
walk me through that. Like what is it like to kind of set a standard and then deal with the individual? Because I mean everyone's coming in with different cultural backgrounds.
Totally.
They might be coming in with like a different mentality of why they're even coming in the gym. Some people might want to compete. Some people
Yeah.
might want to just lose weight. You have to be a gym for the soccer mom and the pro athlete.
Yeah, dude. And I think that's kind of why we've built a name for being the gym that we are is like the standard that I have for my fighters, like I'm not gonna break on break that for anybody, So like I've had a lot of fighters that did fight under me that don't anymore because they would say like that I expect too much out of them and they have this life, and I'm like, well, look, it's very simple, and this probably isn't the gym for you, We're a very hardworking gym, and that's like one thing that I'll never break on, like if you want to fight under the church, I don't care if you go in there and get knocked out. I don't care if you go in there and lose the fight. But if I know you did everything that I want to see out of you in that camp, that's the biggest thing for me, like we're not here to win every fight, that's not realistic,
It's impossible.
Yeah, it's not realistic. But like for me, the win for me comes more or less in seeing you show up every single day and leave yourself out there in the gym every single day.
When you do have guys that depart, what's that feeling like? Do you feel sadness?
Yeah, no, I tend to beat myself up over it, and I think that's just kind of the way that my brain works, like I'm a bit of an overthinker at times, I've ADD, ADHD, a couple different things, so like, yeah, I tend to just like get in my head about things, and yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like, look, man, like there's not every single person that comes in the gym is gonna fit, it's like, and that's just the reality of any situation, of any gym, of any job, of anything, it's like not everybody's gonna fit that mold, so I just have to remind myself, look, man, you do this a certain way, you've gotten here, you're here for a reason, and you have to believe in the products that you're putting out and the standard that you hold in the gym, and if they don't meet that standard, it's not you, it's more them than you, so.
I it's one of those aspects of business that I don't necessarily think I've kind of walked in through yet, because it's like, I have employees and I have people that I work with and all these other things, but I haven't come across like someone quote unquote leaving me yet. I don't know how I would feel about that, because like I would love to sit here and tell you like, oh, I'm gonna be cool as a cucumber, but I'm sure there's gonna be like an emotional aspect to it of like,
Totally.
was there something wrong with me? Did I interact with them well? Did I give them enough respect? Did I give them enough of what they were looking for?
Definitely.
Did they find greener pastures, or did I recede?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One I can live with. Like, hey, I'm not the best. You know what I mean? But I want to at least be good.
Right.
You do predominantly striking.
Yeah.
And one of the things, again, that I talked about Mike with was kind of like the history and the progression of martial arts. It used to be that you would walk in and you'd find a karate gym or a jiu-jitsu gym or something like that.
Yeah.
And then for you're seeing now like the all-in-one gyms, like the MMA
right.
gyms.
Yeah, definitely.
But I see that those kind of correlate with gyms that, for lack of a better word, kind of go out of business rather quick.
Yeah.
And I kind of pinpoint it to two things. Number one, it's easy to find, not easy, forgive me. It's less difficult to find like a good professional boxer, a good practitioner of jiu-jitsu.
A specialist, yeah.
A specialist. Yeah. It's hard to find a master of, or at least a jack of all, master of none, but like someone that knows a little bit about everything to kind of coordinate that. That's got to be extremely difficult. So when you're doing your gym, you have a lot of progress from like where you started, a lot of growth from where you started to where you're at now. But how often do you think about like the future? Like, how can we grow? Do you think when you're thinking like growth, do you think bigger facility, nicer bags, or are you thinking more curriculum? Do we expand our classes? Like what's the idea of like, where's the church going to be in 2 years? Is it going to be where it's at now, just better? Or are you thinking we bring in a jiu-jitsu coach, we bring in a wrestling coach? What's your goal?
So I think for that, the goal is just to kind of just make everything better as far as like the coaching aspect, like just to educate myself so I can give out a better product as far as, training in the gym every day, but also as fighters. When I look forward in the gym, I really see, me building guys, getting them to a point where they can help me open more facilities. Like I do have a plan of opening more facilities. I would like to eventually even like separate like the fighters gym, from like the people that are looking to just train for,
Why?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is, and we haven't had any issues with it yet, but I think it's a certain type of energy when you have a whole room full of guys that are all competing, not to take away from anybody that's not, but you get 10, 15 guys in there that are, 5 guys that are in a camp, guys, you got all fighters, right? It's like the energy that's in the room is just a little bit different, I think
it's a little bit more hostile, a bit more aggressive.
It is. It's very, and it's very aggressive, yeah, for sure. Very competitive energy, and it's like a lot of the people that aren't there for those reasons, it's hard for them to understand that. And a lot of the time when you get the mix of that, it's like they can appreciate it, but it tends to turn into some people are a little intimidated, some people are like, it's just, it's not as on the same level, you know.
Every gym that I went to that I thought was like a quote unquote good gym
Yeah.
had that difference of like we have like beginner striking.
Yeah.
We have some of them would even like separate some of the genders, like this one's
Right.
women's jiu-jitsu
Yes.
day or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And I always thought to myself like, why would you ever separate the gym? But then I thought to myself like, not everyone's like me. Not everyone's
Yeah.
coming to the gym for the same reason. Maybe, you know, I'm trying to be like the best in the world, quote unquote. But
Right.
someone might just come in there because that's their workout for the
Yeah,
day.
exactly. Yeah.
Doesn't make them right or wrong, just makes them different.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you would do some separation in that.
Yeah, I think eventually, like as time goes on, like yeah, I would like to just have like build like a bigger coaching staff. And right now, it's I got like one or two guys that help me with stuff, you know. So like eventually get the coaching staff to be a little bit bigger, you know, and be able to open up a few more facilities and stuff like that.
Oh, so you want to do more than one?
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to do at least 2, maybe even 3. Just kind of pop them off.
Logistically, walk me through that because I don't own a gym. How difficult is it to like run a gym?
Dude, it's a lot, man. It's pretty much 24/7 thing, you know, and like it's hard because I want to delegate more time into doing different things, but I have so much on my plate already.
What's that pie chart look like between like coaching and like administration? Because like, okay, the business, the product
Yeah.
at this point is martial arts and like
Yeah.
your training of martial arts.
Absolutely.
But on the same flip of that coin, okay, you're an entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
You're a business owner.
Yeah.
You have to run payroll, expenses, things of that
yeah.
nature. So like how much of the time do you now spend instead of like engrossing your like into the game?
Yeah.
You're now running a business.
That's exactly it, man, is like having to do all of those things. I feel like I'm being pulled from certain areas a little bit more.
Do you think you're running yourself thin?
Yeah, no, I mean, at times, for sure. I mean, like, I like to keep a lot of my fighters busy, you know? So, like, we always have 4, 5, 6 guys in camp pretty much at all times.
Gotcha.
So I'm trying to give to the guys that are in camp, you know? But also trying to manage everything on the outside as well. You know, as things go on, I would like to be in a position where I could focus more on the business, you know, as opposed to being so involved, you know, with, like, the fighters and the training. And I think with that, it's just going to be building more guys, you know, they can help. Yeah, exactly. You know, kind of the same way that Mike, you know, that Mike did. I think Mike's a perfect example.
Mike is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I believe every single one of his coaches at one point were his fighters.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think just you know, being able to find the time to invest back into these guys that are helping me, you know, but get them to a certain level where I you know, I trust them being able to run a whole entire facility. You know, but before that happens, obviously, like, yeah, it just has to get to that point, you know. So right now we're just still in the beginning stage of it all, you know.
I know that you and Jared are doing walk me through this. You guys are like doing like a gym cooperation, and what does it entail? Because he made it sound like you pay one gym fee,
Yep.
and you can kind of access the facilities of both.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
So it's kind of like more like a collab than anything, right?
Okay.
So like it's yeah. So his gym is in a different area than my gym is in. I have some guys that are over there. He's got some guys that are over here. So it just makes sense. And we've had fighters that have been under him, that have been under me, that have both been in the same gym. You know, so like it just made sense. You know, it was one of those things. Me and Jared have always got along pretty well. So he had hit me up about it, and I was like, yeah, dude, I think this is fucking awesome. You know,
Do you talk to because for the longest time, especially when I was coming up,
yeah.
it was like St. Louis MMA was a very, I want to use the term hostile.
Yeah.
Where there wasn't a whole lot of cross training.
No,
like,
dude.
There wasn't a whole lot of like, hey, come to my gym, I'll go to your gym. It was a lot more segregated. Like, this is the Wolves Den. This is St. Charles and Maine. This is Finney's. And if you're cross training, that means you're thinking about leaving. And if you're thinking about leaving, then you're no longer one of the boys.
Yeah, dude. That's
I feel like that's dying. I could be wrong.
Dude, no, I think so too. I think it's maybe a little bit different in different gyms, you know. But I think, yeah, breaking that mold is like, you know, you only get so many looks from the people in your gym, you know. So like I think at the end of the day it comes down to it's the person, you know. Like if they're gonna leave, they're gonna leave, you know. So like if I have somebody going to get some looks from a different gym to spar at a different gym, right? Like if I trust them, there should be no issue there, you know. There's nothing wrong with cross training, getting different views and stuff like that. You know, I think it's just whenever.
I think it's healthy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, listen, I don't know everything.
Yeah.
But I know what I know, and I will show you everything that I know.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Whether or not you choose, because I'm a 5'8" buck. I fought at 135.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm a smaller guy,
Yeah.
right? If you're a heavyweight, you're not going to fight like me.
Right.
Some of the
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
show you,
Exactly. Yeah.
You might take something from me, but you're
Right.
not going to adopt my style.
Right,
And vice
exactly.
versa, you know?
Yeah.
But what I would say is I always tell people, like, if you know something and choose not to use it,
Yeah.
that is vastly different from not knowing something.
Yeah, totally.
Because
yeah.
then that's your choice.
Yeah.
And you're no longer ignorant.
Absolutely.
Now you're being
Yeah.
decisive with the tool set that you have, and that's, in my opinion, like, the best fighters are the ones that hone the skills that they are attracted to.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is something that I'm noticing that's kind of changing about not just MMA community, but like kickboxing, jiu-jitsu. Like, you're seeing a lot more cross-pollination, a lot more
Yeah.
cross-training. I think a lot of that too is like stemming from the guys that are successful and making it to the UFC. Because
definitely.
think about it, like Buckley, Evan, Woodson, because like Woodson would used to go out to Glory in Kansas City. Buckley's been to like every gym in in the city. Evan has been almost to every gym in the nation. You know what I mean? So clearly, and same thing with Charles Johnson. He went over to Thailand for I think like 3 or 4 years. I think he still goes out there.
Yeah,
to train.
Tiger Muay Thai. He got accepted in the tryout.
So it's like there's a correlation. You're seeing it in real time between success and cross training and going out there and seeing different styles and meeting different people.
Definitely.
I think. I also think it takes a gym owner that's like very humble and not necessarily ego driven.
Yeah.
Because that can be, think about it. You spend, thousands and thousands of hours on a fighter, and then they go out to another gym.
Oh,
I'm sure anyone would feel some type of way, like, oh, I hope they come back.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, it's it's one of those things like you just it comes down to trust. I think more than anything, like if
you can push the mic here.
I got you, man.
No, it doesn't matter. It's only a podcast. It's like if you want to lean forward, I want you to be comfortable.
No worries, man. I think it comes down to just trusting your guys. Like there's not a guy in the gym that I feel like would go and cross train somewhere else and would just like like keep things from me, or that would kind of like.
If they did leave, what would you feel? What would you think?
I'm sure that there would be some emotions, I think that's probably a natural thing. I think there'd probably be some emotions, but
I think it's human.
Wouldn't be the first time, So it wouldn't be the first time it happens. I'm sure every coach has gone through that, So like,
I'll tell you what, Mike Rogers has been through that, and they've come back, and he's still welcome with open arms, dude.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to him?
Oh yeah, dude. Mike's my guy, dude.
Yeah. I know that you trained out there, but I'm saying like. I know a lot of people that trained at St. Charles MMA, but maybe not necessarily had like relationships with. Like, I think Mike is one of the best fucking people I've ever met in my life.
He is an incredible dude, man. Yeah, Mike is awesome.
Do you talk to him about like business, running a gym, anything like that? Have you ever asked him for
Nah,
advice?
Honestly, I haven't. That's
think you should.
I think I think if anything, I'm missing out on some valuable information for sure.
You're doing this in real time, but who are your mentors? Like, do you have anybody? So like you said that you get along with Jared, and obviously Jared's been around the block for
Jared,
a few years.
Yeah, dude, Jared.
So do you talk to Jared about some of these things? And confide in him?
Yeah, so we've talked nothing too in depth as far as like business,
I'm not saying money. I'm talking about more like, we're thinking about doing this program.
Right.
Have you ever done something like this? Or what do you think about training in this format or this style?
Right. Yeah, honestly, I don't even think we have. I think it's been more or less most of our the times that we've crossed paths have just been like we're cornering a guy together, or something like that, And I think that's kind of what stemmed into the collab,
I think that is one thing that is still missing from like, I can't say MMA abroad, but at least St. Louis MMA. In other industries, I see a lot of mentorship, a lot of like business relationships where it's essentially like, guys doing dinners or meeting up together.
Yeah.
And it's a 2-3 hour conversation just about the logistics of the business or like the product or like how they can make it better or, it's one thing that I don't think I've ever seen, but then again, I've never been a gym owner, so I wouldn't necessarily know, but I've never seen like, a symposium of gym owners in St. Louis. But I think that it can benefit every gym
100%
to have everybody kind of reflect with one another.
No, definitely.
At the end of the day, it's like you said, like every gym has a different culture. They might have different strengths and weaknesses, and it's up for the individuals to kind of pick and choose what best fits them.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I still think that we should all be kind of there should be lines of communication between everybody, because if the ultimate goal is to create fighters that could truly follow their passion, make the most amount of money that they can doing this, and hit the highest level and put St. Louis on the map and get some notoriety for the city, I think that's what it's going to have to take. I think it's going to have to take a lot of people swallowing egos and being like,
I agree, man. Yeah.
Are we in this for everybody else, or are we in this for ourselves?
Exactly. And like, you only know what you know, Yeah. So it's like one of those kind of things. Like,
I'm sure there's things that Mike doesn't know.
Right.
Because you're younger. You come up from a different time.
Exactly. Yeah. So just a different generation.
It's not like you don't have value, or like you're just like, kind of like being a parasite to them. It's like, no, listen, this is a two-way street. This is what I think, and this is why I think. What do you think, and why do you think? And then let's bridge some gaps. Yeah. And then, on the things that we don't align on, let's understand why. Right. So that we're not being confrontational. Yeah. We're just standing our ground in our beliefs. This is our strengths. This is my strengths. This is why I do the things I do. You might have a different strength. It doesn't make you right or wrong. It just makes you what you are. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I love the thought of that. Maybe it's a little hippie. Maybe it's a little, but
no, I'm with it, man.
I'm noticing that the best fighters I've come across have also been the ones that are the most like transparent, the most loving, the most caring, you know what I mean?
Yeah, just personable, yeah.
Yeah, because they're the ones that live this shit, and they know it. They know what it's like to be the nail, so they never abuse the power of the hammer. Oh, exactly, man. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, you can't jump that line. You can't jump that line. You see any of those guys that are in that position, man? They had to go through shit to get there. For sure. If you weren't coaching, what do you think you would be doing? Probably making music, dude. Really? Yeah. Oh, shit. I used to make a lot of music, travel a lot. What genre? So I played like K-pop. He's got me. Boy band. Hey, don't tell him that. No, I used to play like death metal, like hardcore death metal, and dude, you and Kayla would get along. Oh yeah. I used to be in a band called Battalion. I did that, man. I mean, like, it was. Were you vocals, instrument? Yeah, vocals. Yeah, vocals, and we used to travel all over the United States and stuff. We had no shit. Yeah, we had a manager in Chicago, and he just kind of put us all over the place. And before I even trained and fought, like, that was pretty much the only thing I wanted to do, And I got to a point where we were very established. We were probably the bigger hardcore metal band out of like the Chicago, Southern Illinois area. And is that where you grew up, by the way, Chicago, Southern Illinois? No. So like my brother did. Like, my mom's from Chicago, my brother's from Chicago, but I just grew up in like St. Louis. Gotcha. But I ended up, I played music. It was probably like 6 or 7 years, and then there was this band called Battalion. We played with them a lot, right? And I always like, these guys are like this, like the heaviest band ever, And I got cool with them. The band that I was in, we played a lot of shows, and it started with like me doing guest vocals for like a song. They made a song, they wanted me to do guest vocals, So I was like, all right, and like I would do it live, and it was always like a good crowd reaction, and like one day I jokingly like just put like a bug in their ear. I was like, what if we did like a dual vocals thing, And they weren't even like, at first it was kind of like, no, like the vocalist was really keen on just being one vocalist, like a one vocal band. And it just like eventually it kind of turned into them being a little more open, and they're like, well, just come out to a practice, I came out to a practice, and it was pretty much from that point on, it was just like, yeah, this makes sense. How old are you during this time? Oh man, I started playing music probably about 13, 14. And during the time that I was in Battalion, it was probably about 19, 18, 19. So like young kids still. Yeah, dude. Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I took all the leaps, man. I remember 15 years old, dude. My parents are the most supportive people ever. They've been through quite a bit on their own. So, I had literally left high school at 15 to go and move to the city and just play death metal, and it was wild, but like my parents were so supportive of it. And, but yeah, throughout time, I realized like, all right, like we're playing shows with these bigger bands, that are in death metal, and they're all broke. Oh my God. They're all broken. I was sounds like every fighter we know, dude. Yeah, and I was getting to the age where I was like, okay, like I do have to start thinking like about, like say I do make it to where I want to make it in this genre of music, it's like, how am I gonna pay my bills, like what am I gonna do? So Jamey transitioned from the highly lucrative cover band to fighting, also known for its high earning potential. Dude, I know, literally, dude, I've never tried to do anything that like an uphill battle. Dude, I swear, struggles, man. Dude. No, I remember thinking remember when I was like 10-0 as an amateur, and everyone was telling me to go pro, go pro, go
Yeah.
pro. And I hadn't finished school yet, and I told all of them, I was like, guys, like I love fighting. I love everything about fighting.
Yeah.
But there's no way on God's green earth that I'm gonna put all of my eggs in that basket.
Right. Yeah.
And there was a part of me that thinks to myself, like maybe if I had, like maybe I would have gone farther. But then that's kind of a dark way to think of like
definitely.
The hindsight is 2020, but then to kind of plant certain successes there that
Right.
that don't exist.
Yeah.
I don't know if they
Yeah.
would. I'm kind of going for a leap.
Yeah.
And it wasn't just fighting like that. It's like there have been a lot of things in my life that I haven't fully committed to,
Right.
and that I fell short on.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that the things that I do fully commit to, I seem to have much more success in.
Definitely.
So it kind of supports that narrative of like, well, maybe if I, did, I don't want to say drop out of school or anything like that, but like, let's say I would have put all the eggs in fighting, like what would that have turned out to be? But then I also kind of ground myself when I say, I love who I am.
Yeah,
I love
dude.
the life I have.
That's exactly it, man.
And could it be better? Possibly.
Yeah.
Could it be worse?
Yeah.
Also possibly.
100%. It could always be worse.
So it at least helps me sleep at night.
Definitely, man.
I don't know what I would do if I didn't do this though, because like I asked you that question, but truth be told, like I kind of stumbled on this shit, kind of like you. Like it was just kind of like, I don't know how you went from music to fighting, but I'm glad you did because now you own the church.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, dude. I know. Same, man. It's like honestly, just the whole trajectory of my life has just been very crazy. I bet I was for sure that kid that was like, damn, that kid's wild, dude. That kid's probably gonna end up in fucking jail or
You're talking about like what, in like middle school, high school?
Oh yeah, like my
What do
whole
you mean
like
by wild?
I was just
Drug use, party.
yeah, yeah, for sure, man. Like
Listen, we all failed the Dare Lion. Don't feel bad,
dude, yeah.
Don't feel bad, homie.
Dude, I failed hard, man. But yeah, I mean, I've never been like addicted to anything or anything like that,
Well, clearly. I mean, listen,
Yeah.
it's also like you have it's kind of hard talking about your youth because anybody who sits there and goes back to like those younger years, you
dude.
realize just how dumb you were.
Oh, dude.
I think that about when I was 25. I'm only 31, let alone when I was 18,
Yeah.
15. Oh my God, the dumb shit I said and did.
100%, man.
But I'm glad I said and did them. Ben Lawler and the Tom James family will ensure that whether you're purchasing your first custom fit suit or your 50th, the process is unrivaled. With the experience and quality of the Tom James name, allow Ben Lawler to help shape the vision that is your professional brand with a suit that speaks to the conviction in their craft. With fabric sourced here in the US, you'll know quality and craftsmanship are top of class. Like a sculptor examines wet clay before creating a masterpiece, Ben Lawler will walk you through the process of selection, measuring, and stitching to ensure your finished product is a work of art. Putting your trust in Ben is a guarantee that your brand will elevate to the next level. And always remember, you don't get a second chance at a first impression.
Yeah.
If it makes you feel a little better, dude, when I was in like high school and college, all I cared about was getting girls, fighting, school. The only reason I went to school was because my mom passed, and like the one thing she wanted from me and my brother was to get an education because she never had the chance to get an education.
Right.
So like that was like the one thing she wanted.
I can respect
so like
that,
if my mom, I always say this, if my mom would have lived, I would have probably walked a completely different path. And it's a very weird way to think about it, but like her death kind of made me a better man and made me kind of think, okay, well, like what other people want has value to me, and I need to honor them, you know?
Absolutely.
So did I make a lot of mistakes, all that other shit? But,
dude.
But, I like who I am now. I like who you are now.
Yeah, dude, yeah.
So you were a wild child.
Oh, dude, I pretty much everything that I know is just from, like, fucking up and being like, oh, yeah, I can't do that again, like
I'm pretty sure that's the scientific method.
Oh, dude.
Fucking around and finding out.
Dude, 100%, man. Like, I was always, like, one thing I will say is I was always a good dude. I always had very genuine intention.
Moral character was always there.
100%. My parents are like my idols. Like my dad and my mom are like the greatest people that I've ever met in my entire life. They did a lot of stuff too. They've done some pretty cool shit, and I think they always inspired me to go for it. Like really more than anything was like, fuck anything else. Like I'm gonna go for it, and whatever happens, and I'll face that road when it comes. But I'm going for whatever, anything that makes me feel alive, anything that makes me feel good. Like I am going for that.
That's a broad stroke, brother. You want to be careful about
Yeah.
that. There's gonna be like comments on this video like anal's great.
No,
makes you feel alive, Jamie.
No, fuck.
No, I can resonate with it, brother. I when I was younger, I was a little bit more judgmental might be the word to use.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I realize we're all just like children growing up. Like adults are basically just children,
Yeah, dude.
but older.
Yeah.
And
dude.
we're still making mistakes, but hopefully we're not making the same mistakes.
Yeah.
And I remember when I was like 13, 14, 15, I used to look at like 30-year-olds like, oh my God, you must be so wise.
Dude, yeah.
Think about how much life you've lived.
Yeah,
I'm 31
dude.
now and I'm like, shit.
Dude, I know, bro. I know.
If only you knew.
Dude, I swear to God, man.
So how did you transition from this like wild life, you know, you're touring and you're singing and you're young, and how did you go from that to getting into the gym? Because you said that you were kind of having like this epiphanous moment. You were looking to your left and to your right, and a lot of these people in these bands weren't making enough money.
No, dude, it was yeah, and like we were, you know, and like I felt very good about the band as far as like what we were doing, like the music that we were putting out. You know, it was very good. But
you were having a good time.
Yeah, but exactly, yeah, but it was yeah, it just got to a point where I was like, you know, like I gotta find something that makes me feel this, that I can actually you know, have like a legitimate career in, or a life in rather, you know, and then I go to fighting thinking that was the thing, you know. I was like, but now I'm here and I'm running a gym and I'm like, damn, okay, like all paths do lead to one, you know. So like, but I also think like, you know, the music, being a front man, you know, playing music, dealing with people, I think everything that I did, you know, up to this point has led me to be in this position, you know, to connect with people. And
there's a beauty in that, because we're joking about like during those times saying like, oh, like I was in a band, we weren't making any money.
Right.
Like, I went from music to fighting, also not known for its money. But then you see where you're at today. So
totally.
Like, it's one of those things. I said the same thing about this podcast. If you would have told me how much money and effort it would have taken at the beginning, I would have never done it.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I'd be like, I like the podcast. I don't like it that much.
Yeah.
But then I'm already like halfway there, so it's like, well now I'm just gonna waste a bunch of time and resources if I don't finish this. I think it's the same way with like life.
Yeah,
like
dude.
Because hindsight's 20/20 and you don't know the future,
right?
You will kind of stumble and go through things, and then
totally.
before you know it, you look back and you're like, holy shit, I've made a lot of ground.
Dude, yeah.
So you did the music, and then you're like, well, this isn't necessarily gonna go to anything, or at least that's the perception.
Right.
So you go to fighting, which you think might have more lucrative ends or more prosperous endeavors. And then the knowledge, the workload that you take on through fighting then gives you the skill set of like starting your own business.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it's like you're kind of like weaving and zigging and
it
zagging.
Is.
And
it's
look where
like,
you're at now.
Oh my God, dude. It was so much of this, you know, and like, yeah, dude, it's
What do you tell your students? Because like, you know, I suffer from this.
Yeah.
I tell fighters like have a plan B.
Right. Yeah.
How do you like tell someone dream big while also telling them taper some expectations? I feel like that's an oxymoronic statement.
No, for sure. And like I think a lot of what I preach to the fighters in the gym is like, look, man, like if you invest yourself into this, you know, who's to say that you're not going to have some type of opportunity that's going to come directly based off the work that you've put in the gym, right? Like I think you anybody that fights, you know, like I think you learn more about yourself in a fight than most situations that you can face in life, you know. And just the amount that you can learn in 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you know, is crazy, you know. And it's like to be able to take that you know, those experiences, you know, and go into whatever you're doing, you know. And like a lot of the fighters I have now, I tell them like, look, man, you can use this to build a profile. You can use this to learn. You can use this to build yourself, so you have a platform to do things that you want to do. If you like, you know, clothes, if you're into clothing and you want to start a clothing company, you can use this to build a platform to do that, you know. Like now this is kind of more on the low key side of things, but I actually just started a like a fight gear company as well.
Apparel or
no, like
specifically
equipment? So like gloves,
equipment.
Equipment, yeah. So like, and it's
what's that process like?
Dude, it's well, I'm learning. I'm learning, man. This is
I'll tell you in a year.
Yeah, dude, exactly. It's gonna be just like this one, man. But I'm jumping in everything I can. You know, I'm already crazy busy with the church, so it was definitely one of those things.
What makes you want to do this though? Is there like something you're not seeing from equipment now? Like, why do you want to get in on this? Is
Well,
there something you think you could do better?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So basically, I got in connection with the dude who had like a really good manufacturer. He got like a really good connection, and so he was just like, "Yo, like I'm not really doing anything with this. I'm just like hooking people up with some cheap gear that's like really solid." And he's like, "Do you want anything?" And I was like, "Yeah, yeah. Like I'll take some stuff." You know?
Yeah, if you're gonna give it to me, I'll take it.
Exactly. You know. And so he got me some equipment, and I was like, dude, this is like, and I'm a stickler when it comes to equipment. You know, I have a lot of winning stuff. You know, and I have
Winning is a brand, by the way.
yeah. Winning fight gear, yeah. But like you know, like it's very high quality fight gear. You know, and so I've always been very much of a stickler. Having to hold pads, I probably hold pads 40 hours a week, maybe more.
That's
you
a
know,
fucking workout.
It's draining, bro. Yeah, and so like I'm really, you know, I'm a stickler about my equipment. You know, having to hold pads that much, you know, it's like you want good shit, you know.
So this guy's coming to you with this equipment, but like you're saying two things that are kind of making me go,
Yeah.
It's cheap,
Yeah.
but it's good.
Dude, yes, yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
make
dude.
that one make sense.
Dude, yeah. So like, I remember the first time I like really saw this equipment, I was like, dude, a light bulb went boom in my head, and I was like, huh. I asked him, I was like, if I wanted to like start a company, I was like, would you be cool with that? I don't want to go
Step
under
on
you or
toes
yeah,
or-
exactly. I was like, but he wasn't doing anything with it. He just had the connection, you know. And he was like, dude, yeah. He's like, I'll help you any way I can, you know. So like, I was like, dude, fuck yeah, let's go. I was like, dude, I have the platform for it. I've always been a good salesman, you know, like sales have always been like, I used to sell insurance. It's probably hard to believe, but I used to sell insurance.
When I think home insurance, I think Jamey Kroesen.
I'm your guy. Yeah, dude.
Shit happens.
Yeah.
You need some insurance.
Swear, dude.
You're slashing tires and then like giving out business cards.
Dude, yeah.
You can prevent this.
Yeah, dude. But yeah, dude, I've always been very much of I believed in my sales you know,
Acumen.
yeah, exactly, yeah. And so when that came up, I was like, oh, dude, like, I could do this shit, you know? I was like, I could definitely push this, you know?
To what end? What's the goal?
I guess just get to a position where I can, you know, like, have different promotions, you know, pushing the gloves, and different gyms pushing the gloves, you know? I think I want to go to, like, the source as far as, like, you know, being able to have somebody that can market your shit for you. Mm-hmm. I think that's going to be the best thing, you know, is like the promotions, like people go and watch a promotion, they see these gloves, or, you know, there's a gym that's using your gloves, or, you know.
I had Erin on for our very second episode, and her story is very fascinating because she's like someone that got in on YouTube
Yeah.
like, very early
Yeah.
and got into like Twitch streaming and all that.
Right, yeah.
And she said something that said essentially that the next generation of kids,
Yeah.
the best form of marketing for them is influencers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Because they say it's like she said the verbiage, I don't want to butcher this quote, sorry, Erin, but essentially she was like, the younger generation only believes, or like the highest proponent for their marketing is influencers because it's like the most organic.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you look up to The Rock, I don't know.
Right.
And The Rock is like, I have these flip flops, and these flip flops are amazing.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I like The Rock.
Yeah.
I should probably like his flip flops.
I love flip
Yeah,
flops.
so I can understand like the marketing aspect of that in the business. I guess the thing that I think there's a lot of things that are oversaturated.
Yeah.
And it's hilarious that I say that on a
Yeah.
podcast
Right.
where
Yeah.
podcasts are oversaturated. So
Yeah.
the irony in this is not lost on me. But the reason I'm asking you the questions of like to what end is because if you were to ask me what the goal of the podcast is truly,
Yeah.
I would do this without the cameras. I'm like, yo,
Right.
let's go grab
Yeah.
a beer.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So if I'm gonna do this without the cameras, let's do it with cameras and see what
Totally.
it can come, right?
Yeah.
Whatever happens, happens. Some people might say like, well, I want to open a gym for the money.
Right. Yeah.
I want to create a product for fame.
Yeah.
That's why I'm kind of, because I'm trying to get into your head, like, where is this coming from? Is this coming from a place of passion? Is this coming from a place of
Yeah.
you're wanting monetary gain?
Yeah.
And there's no wrong answer. Like, I hate it
Right.
when people say like, oh, it's not about the money. It's always about the money.
No,
Even
yeah.
this, I want this to make enough money to operate itself.
When you have enough bills, there's gonna exactly, you know. And we just bought it. You know, me and my lady Demi, we just bought a house in St. Peter's. So
Holla, congratulations.
Yeah. So we got a mortgage now, you know. So it's a little bit different, you know.
Welcome to mid-America.
Dude, I'm saying, man, yeah. So like it's yeah, there's bills coming in every day, so obviously like
How's that feel though? Not to interrupt, but how's that feel?
Dude,
walking into your house?
It's great, dude.
It saddens me that it's becoming so difficult for more and more
dude,
people.
yeah, like seriously, bro. I feel terrible for like the next generation. Yeah.
Next generation, Jamey, our generation.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people I know that make six figures a year
dude.
and don't have a house?
Yeah, no, I know. It's crazy.
Because they want to buy it, some place it's like, well, I want to buy it in this place and it's like 600,000 minimum. I'm like, dude, well,
yeah.
I don't know what's gonna happen here.
No, dude.
But something's gonna have to give. Either, I often say, this is gonna be a terrible analogy that I'm gonna go the sheds. I often say that it's like a hot girl who starts getting a little older.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sorry, ladies, but like when they're young, they have the pickings in the room, right? And then as they get older, it starts to dilute itself a little bit. I feel like that's going to be like what's going to be with people like that. You go into this housing market thinking I want the creme de la creme, and then you realize, okay, like this is not attainable. This is not attainable. This is not attainable. This is not. Now you're just like, I just want a fucking house,
dude. Swear to God, and it's so funny because like me and her, we were like, okay, like we're renting, right? And
you were renting.
Yeah, we were renting. Yeah, and
a house, apartment, loft.
It was like a townhouse.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like so I had a house. I was
square footage.
I was renting a house actually right in Carondelet. So
nice.
like literally rock throw from Carondelet Park, and she
howdy
was,
neighbor.
yeah, dude, yeah, I know, right? Yeah, and she was renting a townhouse, right? And we were like, this is kind of stupid. We're kind of throwing our money away, So I was like as far as we didn't know shit. We thought we knew, but we were like, yeah, like it's gonna be cheaper. We could get a nicer house and pay less, And dude, that was the most bullshit shit, dude. That was the most bullshit shit ever, man. Like we got a house, and it was so funny because the house we were looking at, we were like, the house we got actually, it was like, oh, it's gonna be like $1,400, $1,500 a month, right?
Mortgage.
Yeah, mortgage, dude. It's $2,000. There's so much shit that they fucking leave out until you sign that shit, and they're like, okay, this is like.
It's also variable, so it's like, how much money are you putting down?
Yeah, exactly.
What is the do you want a fixed rate or a variable rate?
Right.
Is it a 15-year note versus a 30-year note?
Yeah,
these are completely different things.
100%.
And it goes back. I'm wanting to have Angie Pappas on. She's actually the principal of Parkway South, one of the bigger schools. And the reason why I want to have her on is because I want to pick her brain on public education. Like, why is it so hard to get like finance courses? Like, you're learning the slope formula,
dude.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love slope as much as the next man.
Yeah.
But it's like I wish I would have had like these were things that I learned in college because I was studying finance.
Yeah.
But I never knew them in high school.
Right. No, for sure.
And I feel bad for these people that go to college and they only develop a skill set or a niche role in a singular field.
Yeah.
Because I felt like I studied finance and finance helped me in so many other aspects of life other than work.
Right.
Running a business, handling my own personal finances.
Yeah, totally.
Investing and future thinking. I stress to people that owning a home is the single biggest boon to a life that they can have because they're no longer paying to live. They're paying for equity. They're paying for ownership on where they live. And the most important part about equity is not that you're paying into something that you are going to own. It's actually that then you can borrow on something that you own. And being able to borrow is the world is run on credit. The world is run on debt.
Yeah.
Anybody who tells you any different is lying to you or they're dumb.
Yeah.
The only difference is the people that have access to capital.
Yeah.
If you have a great credit score, you might have access to a certain amount of capital.
Right.
But anyone that knows anything knows that if you're getting like a personal loan, right? For that's not tied to any sort of asset.
Right.
What do those interest rates look like? Now, I can tell you right now, you're going to look anywhere between like 12 and 18%.
Yeah.
If you don't have any sort of underlying asset tied to that loan. And that loan could be for anything. It could be for something as simple as like consolidation of credit card debt.
Yeah.
It could be for something as complex as starting your own business.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
You could get a small business loan.
Right.
However, you want to know what's easier than any of that and more cost effective is if you own a home. If you have like a $200,000 home, you've paid $50,000 off, you can over lever, you can borrow against the home past its value.
Right.
So like you can get, hey, I want to refinance my mortgage because I want to get some of that cash back from my equity,
Yeah.
and I need that liquid cash for whatever it is that I want to buy. It could be a business, it could be another rental property, it could be whatever.
Yeah.
So now you over leverage. You're at, let's say that $150,000, it was a $200,000 home, $150,000 equity remaining. Sorry, mortgage remaining. So you have $50,000 equity.
Yeah.
You borrow 50 against it. You have $100,000 cash. Imagine the prosperity you can create with $100,000 cash.
Dude. Yeah.
This is literally what America is founded on. Is this entrepreneurial spirit.
Yeah. Exactly.
However.
Yeah.
If you have an entire, and by the way, because you have an underlying asset tied to that, you're not talking about interest rates that are like, now mortgage rates are like 6%.
Oh, bro.
And when I talk about percentages, a percent on $1,000 is small.
Yeah.
A percent on $100,000 is a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So the difference between like 6 and 12%, we're talking about like $6,000 annually.
Yeah.
What if this is a mortgage would be like a 15-year, but let's say you have like a 5-year personal loan.
Right.
You're going to be paying what, 12%, you're going to be paying $12,000 a year in interest. Now it's not compounding, it's like 12 and then 8,000 and then 7,000, whatever.
Yeah.
But $100,000, I always say the finance cost is the cost of money.
Yeah.
You borrowed $100,000, you're going to pay me $130,000 for that $100,000. Yeah. The delta is my profitability. Make it make sense. Yeah. So when you have an entire generation of people that cannot afford homes, this is like, there's an onion to that. Like the first one is, yes, like people want to be home. Like men want to be able to like have a home to raise their kids with. And there's a beauty to that, right?
Definitely.
But let's say you don't want kids. Let's say you just want a home because you want to own something that you can borrow from. And then you can build a business and build prosperity.
Totally. Yeah.
That's fine too. Yeah. There's no wrong reason to want a home. The
No.
only wrong thing is if you can't get a home.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what the answer is because I'm kind of conservative when it comes to finances. I'm very like socially liberal. Like I'm very live and let live.
Yeah.
But I'm also don't fucking tax me more. Right?
Yeah.
That's how I live my life.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So I don't necessarily want like big government to come in and say like, well, Jamey can only own one house and that's going to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, okay, well now you're inhibiting the free market, right?
Right, yeah.
But I also don't want it where like BlackRock, State Street, or Vanguard can come in and buy every single family home in my block and tell me to fuck off.
Right.
That's not cool either.
No, definitely.
So where's the like the middle ground on this one?
Yeah.
And what's striking to me is the only presidential candidate right now who seems to have anything that he's even saying about it is RFK Jr.
Yeah. And
he's trying to say that like for first-time home buyers, we will essentially guarantee the government will be the guarantor of that debt, and they'll cap the interest rate at 3%, which is a start.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, though, if you're not doing anything for supply and demand, those are the big market forces. When you bought a house, you weren't thinking about the interest rate at first. What were you thinking about? You were thinking about the cost of that home.
Exactly.
When a $200,000 home is now worth $300,000 3 years later, you're not thinking the difference between a 4% interest rate and a 6% interest rate. You're like, holy shit, this is just 50% more expensive. That's insanity.
Yeah.
So that is the longest-winded congratulations on buying a home I think I've ever had. Congratulations on buying a home.
Dude, I think we got in like the perfect time, you know? I think.
How long ago was this?
This was what? December 27th, yeah.
Of 2023?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Dude, I need to bring you guys like a wreath, like a
dude.
like a welcome mat.
Yeah,
like, congratulations.
Yeah, dude.
How long have you guys been together?
Like over a year to 2 years, year and a half. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. It's been great.
Doing something right.
Yeah, dude. Together. Yeah. Best thing that's ever happened to me, man.
Congratulations, brother.
For sure, man. Been through a lot of shit, man. For sure.
I often say that I was a boy until I met the woman that made me a man.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, even like just the last year and a half that we've been together, it's been incredible, man. Like I feel like she's helped me learn more things about myself, you know, than I would have been able to do on my own, you know.
There's a lot of things I want to ask you about relationships, but your significant other is literally in this room. So I will ask you this, though. I will ask you this because this is something that I kind of how do you balance being the stoic, manly guy while simultaneously being the one that can show a little bit of emotion and a little bit of vulnerability because you need to with your significant other? It's a paradigm that I find trouble with because it's like I want my wife to look at me as like this is I'm the solid ground that she can stand on.
Totally.
But if I make myself too like emotionally unavailable, then it's going to affect our relationship.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Communication, intimacy, all these other things. So I'm constantly trying to like balance like I'm the shit.
Yeah.
I'm the fucking man with don't make that pasta too spicy.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Yeah. I think a lot of that's just going to be situational, and you may not get it right every time, but like I think being able to be soft with her in the right situations and being able to be like hard in the right situation. Fuck.
In what situations would you want to be soft? What situations would you want to be
dude. Definitely.
Tell me in vivid detail, sir.
Yeah. No. Yeah. Ah, shit, man.
Relationships are hard.
Yeah,
Relationships
dude.
are hard.
Yeah, no, they are for sure. But yeah, I guess just like right place, right time. Like you don't want to be. I'm gonna use the word stoic.
Ooh.
Other than hard, you don't want to be hard in the wrong place, man. No, you don't want to be stoic in the wrong situation. I feel like that can be kind of off-putting,
Yeah.
kind of like a little douchey, I guess you could say. But at the same time, like being able to like pull that shit aside, be able to like shut it off whenever you need to be there in more of like a sensitive way, because I think there's definitely both of them are very important, but I think like they're both situational, I think being the one in the wrong place could definitely be off-putting, So like, I think just knowing the right time for each one,
Yeah, if you're too like emotional all the time, then they're not gonna have respect for you because you're a pussy.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you're always balls to the walls, it's like, dude, relax. Like you can be human.
Exactly.
Chill out.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm currently trying to balance that between a multitude of other things. I'm also trying to balance like time. Like, I want to be there as a father, be there as a husband. I a lot of times we look at these celebrities and these businessmen and all these other things as like successful.
Right.
I mean this when I say this. I don't think the average person gets enough credit for just balancing life.
Dude.
The guy that works the 9 to 5 or the woman that works the 9 to 5 or the woman that stays at home and watches 3 kids or whatever and then like can somehow balance, being there enough for your partner so that they still feel loved and you have the intimacy and the connection even though you have all these other responsibilities. Being there enough for your children or whatever it is that you're got going on, maybe your business. Right. So like I have to be there for her. I have to be there for this so that none of these are falling. And then I need to also be there for myself.
Definitely. Because
if I'm only living for other people, I'm going to start like pulling from what makes me me in order to make the world better. And I'm going to kind of leave myself feeling numb and hollow.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of men implode.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There needs to be a like, it sounds kind of shitty to say, but like you have to be slightly selfish.
Yeah, no, you do.
Bits and pieces at least.
Definitely.
So I don't think people get enough credit for being able to handle that shit. Really.
No, I agree.
Well, anyway, I'm glad that you guys were able to buy a house. I'm looking forward to seeing what you do with, the gym, seeing what you do with this new equipment company.
Yeah, man, I'm excited. I think it, it made sense, just being in the field that I'm in,
What are you going to call the equipment company?
So it's actually a pretty sentimental story, but I had a dog, this dog Flex, I had him for 14 years. And we had gone, he is my boy, man. We had gone through
what kind of dog?
Everything, a pit bull. He has a razor edge. He has a big old head, like this big,
but a lover.
Dude, he's the best, man. Yeah, he was like my best friend, literally. And I pretty much got him, whenever I decided to take that leap into, doing all this crazy shit and being on my own, and and he had gone through everything with me. I mean, literally. The highs, the lows, everything, and that dog was always there. And he just recently had passed away like a couple months ago, Dude,
I'm sorry.
And it was hard. It was hard. I went through some pretty dark shit with that, man. Like kind of like lost myself a little bit, just like disconnected from the world, man. And it was a really tough time. But through all that, I made a promise to him. I was like, I'm gonna honor you in some way. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna fucking honor you, dude. I was like, I have no clue what it's gonna be, but like right now, like the only thing I can tell you is that something will come from this, And so I named the company Flex Fight Gear, and his name was Flex, So like, yeah, dude. And I was like, we're gonna fucking do this shit, bro. I'm gonna put you on the map, And we're building right now. We're building like a logo that has to do with like his face and stuff. And yeah, so it's definitely like, yeah, it was a tough time, but now looking back on it, I'm like doing this whole thing now, and I'm just like, it excites me. It adds more fuel to the fire, If anything, I'm like, dude, like I'm not just doing this for me, but I'm like, You know, and I know a lot of people like, it's just a dog. I'm like, man, I was really close.
Fuck them.
Yeah, dude.
Fuck them.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Anyone
bro?
who says that hasn't had an animal.
Swear to God, bro. I was like, man, that was my best friend, literally, dude. And but yeah, so like I said, man, it just adds fuel to the fire. I'm like, I gotta really send this shit, you know. I want to be able to, like, 20 years down the road, look back and just be like, damn, like, that's still going. This is like its own entity, you know, and this dude is being, you know, his legacy is being carried on through a fucking fight gear company, which makes sense because if you knew Flex, he was very much just like that roughhouse dog, you know, just like, yeah, man, it speaks volumes for him. But yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited, man. It's I remember like trying to think of a name and shit, and I was like, it like hit me. I was like, oh, dude, yeah. Like, this is it. Like, this is fucking it, you know?
I like the sentiment.
But yeah, man, just wanna honor the guy. I think it's more than just a name, you know. I think a lot of people that will see it going forward, like they'll have no idea, but there's a pretty strong backstory on the whole name, and like,
doesn't matter if they know.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly, yeah, for sure.
The last thing I wanted to talk about is the UFC is coming into St. Louis.
Yeah, dude.
And it's the first time, I believe, in 6 years.
Bro.
So what's the air in the gym like when
Dude,
did you have Buckley not too long ago come
yeah.
down
So
to the gym
he came in last week. He should be in this week too.
Nice.
But yeah, man, it's we got.
What's that do for the guys in the gym? I'm sure that just like boosted the testosterone in the room by like 10.
Yeah, I gotta tell everybody, don't fucking ask him for an autograph. God damn it, everybody's so stoked. They're like, God damn, like I had one dude like, do the kick. I'm like, shut up, man. Like, fuck, dude. But yeah, no, it's great, man. It's great, dude. It just. You can, you know, the energy of everybody in the room when he's there is like everybody wants to fucking kill it. Everybody wants to work super hard. Everybody, you know, they see him and they're like,
they're
damn.
inspired.
Like, yeah, exactly, you know. And we got a suite. We got a fucking suite. Went all in. We got a suite, all inclusive and shit. Yeah,
dope.
Pretty excited about that. Yeah.
I'm on the floor.
But are you? Let's fucking go. God damn it, dude.
Dude, they're in once every 6 years. I was like,
dude,
fuck it,
you're
let's
like,
go.
I'm going in. Yeah, dude. That's so
They
sick,
also
man.
had like this like VIP thing. So like when you do a certain amount, like they hammer you with marketing.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, do you want the VIP pass
Yeah.
for 10 grand? You can meet a fighter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I meet fighters every day.
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
not paying that fucking
You're
money
like, no,
for it.
I'll take the front row
I'll
seat.
watch them fight. I'll do that.
Yeah.
But I was like, if I want to meet the fighters, I know where half them live. I can just go to their gym.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
don't need all that. But it was
Exactly,
interesting
man.
to know that was, if you want to meet your local UFC fighter, 10 grand. That's apparently the price. Good for them, I guess.
Shit,
No,
man.
I'm glad they're coming to St. Louis for a multitude of reasons. One, we're owed it, I believe.
Yeah, dude.
Especially for considering like how much talent we're pumping out.
Dude, there's so much, and it's the craziest part about it, man. There's so much talent in St. Louis.
Well, we got Charles, Sean, and Buck on the card. Buckley just got on like a week and a half ago.
Bro. Just beat Luque.
Dude, that was a good fight.
That was crazy.
It's kind of weird too, because like I thought it would be. I don't know if it's like Vicente had an off night or Buckley was just on.
Yeah.
I thought that fight was going to be a lot more.
Vincente's
close,
a beast,
competitive,
dude.
a lot more competitive.
Vincente's
Dude,
a
Buckley
fucking,
walked through him.
Dude, he crushed
Yeah,
him, dude.
I was just like, Jesus.
Absolutely crushed
So
him,
good
man.
for him. I will say that Buckley's got a tough fight coming up.
Oh, dude.
Yeah,
that dude. 10 knockouts?
Yeah.
10 fucking.
And the fact that it's on like, dude, give the guy some credit. Give both men credit.
Yeah.
Because if you're Buckley facing the opponent or the opponent facing Buckley, it's not like either guy is like, a slouch or not intimidating or anything.
Yeah.
You do it on 2-3 weeks
and
notice.
take it short notice. Yeah, for sure.
Balls on those.
And Buckley's he's been pretty active, coming right out of a fight into another one. He's going to be in shape.
Well, definitely him at 185 was. I would love to sit down and talk to him about like the mentality of that, like why he did that.
Yeah.
Because like anyone that knows him, I don't think 55 was ever good for him. I think.
Yeah, that's
like he cut way too much weight.
That's
I think
too much.
70 is
Yeah,
good for
70
him.
definitely. Yeah, he still has power.
And 85 he fills out, but he's too short.
Right.
Like
yeah.
When you see him against Holland and all these other people, you're like, damn.
They're
man.
so tall. Yeah, dude, for
but
sure.
at 70, he's like
70 is definitely his
he
weight
looks
class.
good.
Yeah. But the guy he's fighting, fucking 6'6".
Yeah, but he's never made 170. He's cutting down to 170.
Yeah, that's
for
his
the
first time. Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how that one goes because dehydration of the brain, your ability to
Right,
take damage, if
right.
he even makes weight, what that looks like.
Dude, that's another thing. The guy's big. You
Yeah.
know, he's a big guy.
And he might
you know?
know that if he shows up 2 or 3 pounds late or heavy, and Buckley really wants to fight in front of his St. Louis crowd, he might be banking on the fact like he's going to accept the fight no matter what.
Yeah.
There's a paradigm to it, man. Charles Johnson and Sean Woodson both being on the card. Sean Woodson fighting Alex Caceres, the number 15 rank.
That's a good fight, bro. That is man. Sean's the homie, dude. I go. It's funny because like the dude who actually got me into MMA, I was probably 14, 15, yeah, probably 14. Was Ebers. Like literally,
Andrew Eber's mom,
dude. Yeah,
no shit,
dude. Swear to God, like we fucking we met. You know, we met at like a party, and it was like the day he got his blue belt, and we partied, and you know, we used to partake in some psychedelics. I don't know if you want to leave that part out, but I don't think he'd care. But
what, mushrooms, weed, what?
Acid mushrooms.
Oh, okay. That's
yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. And yeah. So like, and it was like right when he got his blue belt. We met the same day he got his blue belt, and we just kicked it off super hard. I didn't know shit about MMA. You know, this is before I even really trained or like, you know, wanted to fight or anything like that.
A young tattoo-less Jamey.
Yeah, this is me when I was like playing music. You know, I was just like, yeah, you know. So I was like the metalhead kid. He was like the MMA guy. And so like he just got me hip on everything. I remember like him like just showing me like every Fedor fight ever, you know, like literally like every. And I was like, I fucking love this guy, you know. I love Fedor. Fedor was probably my favorite fighter coming up, you know, pretty much because that was like all the fights he'd show me were mainly just Fedor fights, you know. Evers loved Fedor, but yeah, man, yeah, he got me into it, you know. And Sean Woodson, you know, I had met Sean through Evers, and you know, he had come out to Arnold BJJ one time. Beat the shit out of me, like for sure. Like I remember sparring the first time I sparred Sean, I was like, "What do you do? Like you can't even touch this guy. I can't even touch his arm. You know, he's so like long and like uses every bit of it. He's deceptive too. So like being long and being able to use it all, man. It's like he's like I'd be like, oh, I'm safe here. Bam. Like no, dude.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, dude. No. And but we got really cool, man. Like we used to do like some workouts at like the YMCA, like strength and conditioning stuff and. Yeah, man, all cool dudes for sure. But it's cool to see him on this level.
I used to go to. I remember when Mop first opened his gym when they had like maybe 300 square feet a mat.
Yeah, dude.
I was there at the Wolves then. I trained with them for about 2 or 3 years, and it wasn't until I moved back to St. Louis that I had to leave that gym. But
yeah,
I have nothing but fond memories with those guys. And I mean, Mop is he's just a cool guy.
Just a fun dude.
Yeah, and Sean also like a beautiful individual.
Oh,
like
dude,
his soul. He's just
such a good dude.
He's just a cool cat.
Such a good dude, man.
And if you know his story.
Coming from heavyweight too.
Not just that, but like with his father and Sean's been through some shit.
Oh, for sure.
So to see him get some successes,
he deserves it, man. And he does it right, man. I mean, you talk about a guy who's just like, as long as I've known him, he's never like got off track. Like he's so disciplined.
That's his life.
His eating, like everything that dude does is 100% to get to where he you know, even to where he is now, but even further, of course, you know. But like. That guy is just like he eats and breathes it, man. I mean, he lives this shit, really, genuinely.
Think about it. You know? If he wins his fight and Buckley wins his fight, we'll have 2 ranked St. Louis fighters.
That's crazy, bro.
Yeah, and then Charles is on the cusp as well,
bro. Yeah, oh yeah.
Charles is probably the one that's like changed the most.
Yeah,
because I remember I used to train with Charles at St. Charles MMA, and at the time he was like known as like a track athlete, like an endurance guy.
Definitely.
More wrestler than striker.
Yeah.
And boy, did he say hold my Thai latte, because now he's just starching guys.
Dude, he's fucking.
His striking has gotten good.
Bro, yeah, dude. I know he was training with like Jan up there and shit, you know, and.
It fucking shows. It shows. All these guys, their bodies of work. And I know we're not talking about Evan Elder only because like he's not on the card itself,
right?
But, like he really wanted to be. That's another guy who's like really kind of hitting his stride. But like Garrett Armfield, another one. We have what? That's 5 fighters. Yeah, I know that there's others like that don't necessarily say they're from St. Louis. I mean, Chandler, you could say is a St. Louis fighter.
Yeah, for sure.
I know that he trains out of Coconut Creek.
I know he wrestled like
Florida, but I mean he grew up in St. Louis.
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, I think we're getting very well represented by phenomenal athletes.
I agree.
And
it's the right people. It's the right people for sure, man.
My only concern is I hope that it maintains. Like I hope that you know the hype of this card brings this the UFC back to St. Louis more.
Yeah, definitely.
I hope that the fighters see it as like an opportunity of like, hey, these are the guys that grew up here and look where they're at. Like I can do it too, which is a beautiful thought.
Definitely.
So not to add any more pressure than is already on a fighter before a fight to also put the pressure of the city. But I genuinely hope that all of them have like great performances and fight on the night and all this other shit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because then it only solidifies them coming back and being able to represent more.
Exactly. Just putting on for St. Louis, man. Yeah.
Jamey,
Yeah.
I really want to thank you for coming on, dude.
Dude, stoked to be here, man.
You're one of the guys that I always like watching and love seeing at the fights because you're just good vibes, good people.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love seeing the progress of your gym and what you're doing and how much work you're putting in. I genuinely hope for your success.
I appreciate it, man.
Both short term and long term.
Yeah.
One of the questions I ask, I try to ask every guest. I was 0 for 2 for the last two. I'm sorry, Greg. I'm sorry, Evan. Evan, we were talking about Jesus for like literally an hour and 45 minutes. Did not know that that's where that was going to go, but I felt good about it. And then Greg, we went 2 hours and 15 minutes on like, where did the second gunman on JFK, where was he at? Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things I try to ask every guest is like, what's a piece of advice you would part to someone like a younger Jamey, like something you've learned in your life that you're like, man, you know, don't learn the hard way. Here's something that I would tell you right now to save you some time. What would be that piece of advice? It could be life, business, fighting, anything, something important to you.
So I think like the biggest thing is just gonna be like it's really like my my you know my I don't know what word I'm looking for here, but like my
Mantra.
That's
Code.
it. That's it. You're good at this, man.
I hope.
It's just, man, just fucking go for it and just do it unapologetically, man. Like know yourself, know yourself, know the things that make you feel alive, and be very good at them, because if you love it enough and you get good at it, you can do it. You can do it. You can make a whole entire life out of it, and like I think that's the biggest thing that I would tell anybody, that wants to do something, that has a real passion for something, is like, if you love it enough, you can do it, You just gotta make the right decisions along the way, and put enough into it, So just going for it, man. Just going for it. That's like kind of been my biggest thing, is like, I've made a lot of fucking mistakes. I'm still so new to all this, man. Like it's like I still make mistakes, but I think the biggest thing is just knowing where you're going, right? Like maybe I go a little bit left here, but I'm still going forward, and just fucking going for it, man, and just doing it, and not letting anything slow you down or stop you or delay the progress. It's like just going for it, man. Really, yeah.
They say that the best teachers are the ones that never stop being students.
Yeah.
So,
for
Jamey,
sure. Yeah.
I appreciate you, brother.
My man. Happy to be on here, bro.